Good evening, Yvonne. Thank you for having me on the program. Yes, we are actually seeing this continuous U.S. delegation visiting Taipei. And that is, like what you mentioned earlier, that is the third U.S. Senator congressional delegation that we have seen this month. And not forgetting that there is going to be Arizona governor coming just a few days later, and Indiana governor actually just left. So that makes the month of August a total of 5 U.S. delegations. Obviously, from the United States part, they are saying that this visit has always been quite consistent in the past, but no doubt we are seeing very strong opposition coming out from Beijing. And as for Senator Marsha Blackburn's visit to Taipei this time, I think that she is going to just be in this region to show support for Taiwan, and she has been previously very vocal about it. And then upon her arrival in Taiwan, she tweeted that she will not kowtow to Beijing. These are very strong words. And on top of that, let's not forget that Senator Blackburn has visited countries in the Pacific Islands, such as Fiji, Solomon Islands, Papua New Guinea. These are Pacific Island nations where the U.S. really hope to extend friendship and more partnerships for fear of Chinese expansionism in those areas.
So you say that these visits have been consistent in the past. What do you make of Beijing's response to them so far? And with subsequent visits, do you think the reaction will increase or intensify?
China actually appeared quite slow to respond on Friday to Blackburn's visit, which received limited attention on the Chinese social media. So this is really very different to Nancy Pelosi's visit at the start of this month. But we did see the Chinese embassy in Washington telling Reuters in a statement that Beijing would take unspecified resolute countermeasures, adding that the relevant visit once again proves that U.S. does not want to see stability across the Taiwan Strait and has spared no effort to stir up confrontation between the two sides and interfere in China's internal affairs. But what we know is that the Chinese has continued to conduct these military exercises, and one is actually going to be held around the coast of Fujian, which is not far from Taiwan. Even though as compared to Pelosi's visit, after her post-visit, there was this very big military drill exercise. I would say that this exercises that's conducting around China recently is not so far as targeted towards Taiwan. But no doubt we are still seeing daily incursions of military PLA jets and vessels around Taiwan, and they are actually crossing the median line, no doubt putting a lot of tension on the Taiwanese military front.
And Tingting, former US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is expected to visit Taiwan next month, as well as those other officials that you mentioned. How significant will his trip be in comparison?
I would say that it would really still yet to be seen, because actually this is Mike Pompeo's second visit this year. He was here in Taipei earlier this year. So he is expected to visit Taiwan at the end of September. He is actually invited by one of the media here to give a speech at a, I would say, a trade kind of event. Being Pompeo has been very vocal about his support for Taiwan, and he has continually stressed that during his term, he has actually helped Taiwan to gain more international recognition in the sense. But as to how, because given that he's a former government U.S. official, whether the Chinese will have such a reaction to, let's say, compared to the level of reaction we've seen in Nancy Pelosi is yet to be seen. And I don't believe that there will be such strong words coming out from the Chinese towards Mike Pompeo's visit. But no doubt we are going to see many other foreign delegations visiting Taiwan. We are expecting a group from Lithuania next month in September and a Canadian group in October. This is no doubt going to continue to make the Chinese really unhappy about it.
Meanwhile, a video of Taiwanese soldiers throwing stones at a Chinese drone has gone viral. What more can you tell us about this?
I would say that this video was actually taken according to the Taiwanese Defense Ministry. They have verified that this video circulating on the Chinese social media is real. So basically, just to give everyone a brief idea of what the video is about, it is taken from a Chinese commercial drone that flew over Kinmen Islands, which is the frontline islands of Taiwan. And so happens that it flew over this military post, and there were these two soldiers who came out, and then apparently the drone took photo of them, took videos of them. And then what happened was that two of these soldiers actually threw stones at the drone. And then obviously, this is very propaganda materials from the Chinese side, Then obviously it also shows that the gray zone tactics that the Chinese is taking on to Taiwan. And obviously, currently the Taiwanese Defense Ministry and the public in Taiwan are scrutinizing, like, is there a standard operational procedure, or what we call SOPs, or whether the frontline islands are well equipped to counter with these gray zone tactics, because from a very, I would say from the point of view of the Defense Ministry, it is really very difficult to determine whether they should or should not shoot down the drone. First, it is commercial, and we are not very sure what is the purpose of these drones incursions into the islands. No doubt they are there to do a lot of, I would say, unsafe maneuvers, but at the same time, it also shows that how these frontline islands are very ill-equipped. So the Taiwanese Defense Ministry has announced that they will actually provide the latest drone system that is actually manufactured by the Taiwanese side by 2023 to these frontline islands to make them better equipped to counter with such gray zone incursions by any drones.
Meanwhile, Taiwanese Foreign Minister Joseph Wu says China's trying to establish a new status quo around Taiwan. What does he mean by that?
We are actually seeing the Taiwanese foreign minister giving a lot of these interviews and a lot of public statements to the international media. And with that said, he's trying to say that the Chinese is no doubt, trying to pressure Taiwan. And that includes like how we heard the same rhetoric, the recent rhetoric where the Chinese claim that the median line across the cross-strait is non-existent. But, we have to remember that even though this line is so-called non-existent as claimed by the Chinese, it has served as a buffer zone between the two sides for many decades in that sense. So, with the Chinese sending their jets and their vessels to cross over the median line, it has actually broken what the status quo as we have seen. And the new status quo, as claimed by Minister Joseph Wu, and what he actually has been telling, is that the Chinese is trying not to only to gain control over the Taiwan Strait. The Chinese might have means and the ambition to link the East Sea, the Taiwan Strait, all the way to South China Sea. So they will actually expand the China's sphere of influence in this region. And no doubt he is actually telling the whole world that the Chinese hegemony is something that everyone needs to look out for.
Tingting Liu, we thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.